Mother Nature kills more people. Well, she kills everyone.
This is the other thing that's really important that I remember from the guy who's the public health expert. He said, and this really got me, he said to anybody saying this vaccination is about trying to heal people, let me remember this exactly. For anybody believing that this vaccine is intended to heal people, know that trillions of pounds are being spent on its development, and yet malaria will kill millions and millions more, yet they do not put anywhere near the amount in actually saving the lives that will undoubtedly be caused by this disease.
Well, something very similar from the statistics guy on Twitter.
Oh, I love this.
He's brilliant.
Yeah,
he's
great.
Brilliant.
I know him.
8,568,481 referrals for treatment have not been made.
No, I know. 17% more likely to die of pancreatic cancer now.
8.5 million. And this isn't treatment.
Well, get this. This happened 2 days
Some
ago.
of them will be ingrown toenails, you know, but enough of those are going to be lung cancer.
Right.
Did you hear about the people being checked and they were told it might be COVID and it's lung cancer?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
so a woman
horrifying.
I've just dealt with, a husband whose wife, 4 children, she died of brain cancer. She didn't get treatment.
No.
So she got it withheld. But an example of how crazy these times are. My mum rang up the GP because she can't really hear at the moment. She needs her ears syringing. And they said, we're sorry, we can't. She went, why? Well, COVID. She went, okay. And they went, but you can come in and pay for it.
Hey.
And that evidences to me my losing respect for the system. I'm really losing respect for the NHS. And I'm not being awful. That's not the doctors and it's not the nurses. Bear in mind with that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I am losing respect because I think that we know, I've gone in, I've taken pictures of completely empty A&E departments, completely empty outpatients units. That doesn't mean that they've not got people in beds, but we know that they haven't been busy for 6 months and now they're not busier than they would be usually.
There's somebody who lives where I live who said she was a COVID
Isn't that your
nurse.
wife?
Not in my
Somebody lives
house.
where I live.
In the area, on the estate. And that'll be good. Someone that lives where I live.
Somebody that lives
she
in the
hangs
house.
around the place.
She's always there.
I've seen it. Gives me things on my
close
birthday.
to my child.
Yeah.
She has a name, Aidan. God damn it.
We don't mention it though, do we?
The name that's never spoken.
Yeah, no, because can you imagine? But the woman that lives round the corner from my fucking house is a nurse, and she called herself a COVID ward nurse. And she was bollocking everyone on Facebook on the little guy. I joined the group to have a fight with everyone because my son got my son got in trouble with someone because him and his friend did the terrible crime of using a stick to knock crab apples out of a tree.
I thought you were going to say like a stick to hit another child. I was going to go, I do think Aidan is a definite issue.
No, it was crab apples out of a tree.
Oh, did he make jam?
No, but they did post his picture on a Facebook group.
Oh, I hate that.
And I had a very forthright discussion with these people.
That's a complete violation.
But she was like, I noticed the children were out playing. I walked during lockdown. Me and my son would go for a walk. He'd be rolling,
I hope so.
blading, all these things, just out.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get afraid at the time. When it was at its peak, if you'd seen what I seen, you went, so what have you seen? The deaths from COVID. What do they look like? You wouldn't believe me. Oh, I might. Well, you don't need to. In other words, you're a fucking cleaner. You change the sheets in a fucking empty ward, and you're afraid. I
think one of the things that you've got to think about as well, though, I was talking to an ICU consultant the other day, and obviously, pneumonia and like flu and any respiratory deaths are not nice, are they? Because it's like a choking to death, and not being able to breathe has got to be one of the most horrible things. I nearly died of flu in 2000, so I got a really bizarre influenza strain. I was in hospital for 3 weeks. I was in critical care for 3 days. I signed my death benefits form, so it was serious, right? Really serious. And now when anybody says they've got flu and they're stood in front of me, I want to hit them.
I've only had flu once
in
my life. It's
you
not
haven't
that
got
good.
flu because you can actually speak.
Yeah.
But obviously back when this was happening, I imagine that any death is traumatic to see, but if you're an ITU nurse or doctor, you're a certain mindset. What they did was they redeployed a hell of a lot of people who might have been on orthopedics or pediatrics or
And they were watching
just
people choke
enjoy
to death.
being with people. Right? So you can imagine you've never really gone into that situation. Maybe you've never worked in December or September or October as it starts to get busy. And all you're seeing is people coming in and 50% are dying. Because that's what you're seeing. And in hospitals where it was very busy, like you can't say that in somewhere like Portsmouth. Had a very interesting conversation with somebody who got in touch with me and told me that he had life and death decisions to make over children and who got the ventilators. And I've tracked back his hospital and it had less than 200 deaths. And also they'd all been over 60. But this is a doctor who was telling me this. So even propaganda there, I've taken pictures of it because I don't think the GMC should employ people who do those kind of things. But what I'm trying to get across there is you've got the wrong mindset to deal with that circumstance. I think I'm somebody who can deal with that circumstance. I've worked with high-level trauma. I hear horrible things. I've been involved with those kind of situations. I also know that people get vicarious trauma just from listening to nasty stuff.
Yes.
So you have to have a mindset. So I'm with you in the fact that some people have been through horrible, horrible experiences. Some people will have just been able to manage it. But definitely during that April particular surge where like thousands of people died in care homes and elderly died in hospitals, mostly from transmission as well at times in hospital.
Or just pneumonia.
It doesn't matter. Those things were awful, right?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be something we've got to acknowledge. And I think it's important too, because I think when people don't acknowledge that massive spike, it decreases our evidence elsewhere.
Yeah, I do get that, but I also believe that some people just fucking love telling other people what to do.
Oh,
and giving
yeah.
themselves in massively false authority.
Oh my God, I'm absolutely with you there. And I think that I still expect in my job when I'm working with trauma to hear it. I don't go, right, well, now this has become more people being traumatized. I don't want to hear it anymore. Or I'm super important because I'm hearing it. Like, you choose your vocation. Yeah. Don't choose your vocation and then get angry with the fact that that's your vocation. If healing people and looking after dying people is part of your job, then I think that's a really important job you do and you should be absolutely valued for it. But I don't think that that makes it something that then becomes in a special category.
On the Thursday when you were supposed to stand at when that kicked off, that was after my mother-in-law had been left to die by the NHS.
In a care home.
Just dumped her. The doctor wouldn't visit. The only time anyone went out was with end-of-life drugs.
I know that.
It was just pneumonia. Could have been treated, but it's happened. We can't change it. Well, someone said...
That's really awful to go through a death like that.
It's fucking brutal. But one of the neighbours who was sheltering because his wife had cancer, so I'd nip for things for them sometimes, and he said, I'll see you at the door on Thursday. I said, no, you won't. Well, I said, well, they just killed my mother-in-law. I wouldn't have done it anyway because it's not what I do, but I said, I'm not clapping for any of them. The heroes. Not mine.
See, I'm struggling because I'm suing the NHS for my dad's death. So it's very hard. It depends on your subjective experience.
Well, you can't help it,
some
can you?
people who've been saved or had their...
My dad, they've saved my dad. They keep him alive.
Yeah.
And you know what? His doctors, I'll go and tell them, and I have. I'll thank them. But at the same time, my dad last year had a stroke. They sent him home twice. Sent him home once. I took him back, spent another whole day there. And they wanted to send him home again. And I kicked off. They kept him in. They found out he'd had a stroke. So, not my heroes.
No.
A good doctor you'll thank. And, a lot of them are selfless, incredibly hard-working people.
Oh, God, yeah.
That have to come across arrogant
really
because otherwise they'd go insane.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a lot of arseholes there as well.
They're always in every job.
Exactly. Yeah. Self-important, pompous pricks who've revelled in the applause. And, let's put another TikTok video. Do you know what? Don't put TikTok videos out. You're supposed to be overrun.
I think that's one of the hard things as well, though, because that stuff, when you look at the people who are working in the intensive care units, they must have been having such an incredible
But don't do it in the hospital. It's a stupid fucking idea because it erodes any trust.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Exactly. That kind
Go
of...
home and do it.
Yeah.
But we're all there going... Or in my case, on my street, someone had a fucking vuvuzela. I watch quite a lot of evenings. Me and my son will watch a TV show or a film. It's our time together.
Yeah.
And it was a Thursday night. We weren't doing the show because we weren't allowed in here at the time. And I remember we went, oh, God, not again. Because just like, there's always some prick banging pots together. But my favourite one on the clapping, we're going off tangent now because we're getting near the end. A couple of the more robust chaps where I live decided to do clap for Boris. When he was ill, it was the loneliest thing I've ever heard in my life. I opened the window to listen. It was just like,
But that's another thing that I don't process very effectively. The fact that we're being told that this vaccine, which is going to be a live vaccine, so that you can create antibodies. I have antibodies. I've had a test, a blood test, and I apparently have had it, and I have antibodies, and I didn't even know. So there you go.
There you go.
17 years for me. Thank you very much. I've got my certificate. So basically, one of the things that you see there is that why is he self-isolated? He had COVID.
Yeah.
So then he's got antibodies.
Because he's been told to.
But again, like, you either say that we're in a situation where a vaccine would work, meaning if your exposure triggered your antibodies, therefore providing you with immunity, you either have it, meaning that Boris is okay, or you don't have a vaccine that works because it can't work. So you're like, even
isn't it
without
ironic?
that kind